Hey everyone, and welcome to my little tiny kitchen. I don't think I ever filmed a video in my new kitchen yet. It's very small. As you can see, I don't have a lot of counter space. The sink's right here, and then I have my cutting board and stove is over there. No dishwasher. We're in New York City. It's very rare to have a dishwasher here. And I have this cabinets over here, plus this little pantry thing that I've been keeping my dried herbs and some utensils hanging there, but I'm not going to show a lot of it because I still have to decide how that's going to look like in the future. And I am going to make dinner tonight. I'm going to be making ramen, so I just thought to show you guys how I do it. I'm just going to be filming while I cook dinner. So I'm just going to be using a few things that I have at home. I had some pork broth that I had made and needed to be used. I don't really like using Ziploc bags for freezing, but I only have a few silicone bags, so when I run out of them I do use Ziploc bags, but I try to wash them after. And I have some ground pork here. This is local. I got that at the Union Square Market, so I'm going to be using that as well. I'm going to make a spicy ground pork to go in our ramen. And I have some beautiful mushrooms that I got at the market too, some ginger garlic and some other stuff that I had here that I had to use. But since I already have the broth kind of made, it already makes it much easier to make ramen at home. I'm just going to flavor it with a little bit sesame paste and miso and make a little bit of creamy pork ramen. I really like Sun Noodles. It's actually from Hawaii. They make really good noodles and they sell it here in New York, so I try to eat local as much as I can, but sometimes I do buy stuff like that too. And it comes with a little pack here for the flavoring for the base, but I'm not going to use it. Usually if I have a flavorful broth already, I have some pork bone broth that I had made that's flavored already with some ginger and green onions and garlic. I'm going to just use those noodles because I really like these fresh ones. And I will save this for a day that I don't have broth handy and you can just make it a quick ramen. I'm not opposed to using condiment things, you know, if it makes that life easier sometimes, it's okay. We're all really busy. We do cook mostly at home and I try to make a lot of things from scratch, but sometimes it's totally right to use some things that are already prepackaged. Those noodles actually cook really fast, so I'm going to start actually by defrosting this pork broth in my stove over there. Then I'm going to cook the ground pork, the same pot that I'm making the pork. I'm going to saute the mushrooms after to get that nice flavors into it. Also, we have some fresh eggs from the market. I'm going to do a soft boiled egg. And let's get started. Use maybe half of this. A little trick for peeling ginger, you can do it with a spoon. And I like to save the ginger peels to make broth. I'll make stock, like veggie scrap stock, or sometimes also bone broth, and I would add ginger peels and onion peels, carrot peels to flavor it. So ginger, some garlic, same with the garlic peels. I will put them all together. And this is gonna be for the pork. Not going to cut this very fine. Just a slice is fine for us. Just go around my knife a couple times. Alright. I'm gonna move this garlic here. Just gonna cut one slice down just so it's kind of stable. And I like to cut against the fiber, so it makes it a little bit slice easier to mince it after. Also, Danny and I are not super picky. We love ginger flavor, so even if there's some bigger ginger pieces, is fine too. That's good enough to us. I also like to add some of the white part of the green onion. Add some now here too. Oh, this is enough just to have a little onion flavor to it too. Yeah, I was kind of test my pan to see if it's warm. Just hover my hand over. I feel a little bit of warmth in there, so I'm gonna add some avocado oil. This will burn fast, so I just want to kind of slightly cook them until they get fragrant. Then I'll put the pork in right away. Starting to get slightly brown, and I'm just gonna add the pork right away. Put a lot of chili flakes, so we want to make this spicy. And I'm going to be using this condiment here from Lenny's Farm. It's local too, I got it at the market. It's really good. The fermented chili paste smells amazing. I would like very spicy food here. I also have this one here. It's very spicy, so I'm gonna add some of that too. It looks very bright red compared to the other one. There is a lot of pork in there, but if I cook meat at home, I always do a whole pack, and then that way tomorrow we have leftovers. And then we can have lettuce wraps for dinner, have some lettuce in the fridge, or just some ground pork with a bowl of rice and some veggies with it. So it's always worth it for me to make extra. So I want it to get nice and golden brown. And then when it's nice and brown, I'm just gonna deglaze the pan with some cooking mirin. That's the rest of my green onions for garnish while I wait for this. I'm gonna cut them in the bias. So the pork is kind of getting brown at the bottom, and I don't have another saucepan like this, so gonna have to cook the noodles in the same pan. But we don't want to cook the noodles on the broth. You cook it separately, then you pour the broth on top. Actually gonna add some more green onions to this too. A little leftover that I had from the other one I was cutting. Taste this broth now, and I'm going to season it. It is pretty good, so I'm not gonna need to add a whole lot more things. I'm going to add a little bit of sesame paste now, and I'm gonna add miso at the end. When you add miso to things, you don't want it to be boiled. You kind of turn it off, then you whisk the miso in, so you can kind of keep all the good probiotic properties of it. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm gonna use the tahini, the same one I used to make the beef hummus. I'm gonna use that to thicken the broth too. I love sesame. Alright, it's starting to get really crispy in here. That's what I like. Brown bits in the bottom. So what I'm gonna do now, twist this real quick. I turn the flame off, so I have had this come up on me, and then I'll add some of the mirin. Deglaze. Look at that, nice and brown on that one. It's going to be a crispy pork topping for the ramen. Let's taste it. Alright, really good. I'm going to transfer this to this container here because I only have one cast iron and I need to do the mushrooms in the same pan. I want to deglaze this and throw all of these drippings in that pot back there with the broth. This is a little sweet, so I can't do too much. We got nice and almost like caramel looking, and that's gonna go right back there in that pot. Put this away. I'm going to saute all of these mushrooms together. Now I'm going to turn the flame off and add some dark miso paste. I'm going to move it out of the way and whisk it really good. Make sure everything is nice and well incorporated. Then I like to strain it in case there's any clumps in there, and the broth is very nice and smooth. I just put some water back in the pot and I'm waiting to come up to a boil while I cook these mushrooms. If you never had mushrooms like this, you should try it because it is pretty delicious. I'm just going to finish them up with some butter and some soy sauce. A little bit soy sauce, then the other things are already salty. Turn it off. I'm going to put a little bit of green onions in here. I'm going to use this for garnish. I just want a bit to cook with it. I always try to cook the egg at the same time that I boil the water. So I'm going to be cooking the eggs with the noodles too. The water is already boiling. I'm going to gently put a couple eggs in there. And I always use a spoon when I do this because I have cracked eggs from boiling before. I'm going to put a timer for 3 minutes. Then I'm going to throw the noodles and cook for 4 more minutes. In case if you wonder if this got cold, it's still pretty hot. I don't know if you can see, but still steaming. And even if I did, I know that I do have to buy another little saucepan like this. I'll just put it in the microwave for 30 seconds. I don't want it to boil, but at least you can heat it up a little bit again. This is half for me, half for Danny, so there's 2 portions here. I'm gonna add some of the mushrooms. some green onions, pork. Just gonna cut this egg. Oh, that's beautiful. Look how orange and beautiful this looks. Now I'm gonna add a little bit of black sesame seeds to this yolk, so it looks a little nicer even. Add our broth and turn it to my side. Put some microgreens. Don't need the microgreens, but since I have them, just gonna put a little in the middle. Some of those nice chili strands that I think it looks nice in ramen. So I'm gonna use some of that to garnish too. Just I knocked off my microgreens. And that's it. Dinner is ready. Thank you so much for watching. I'm gonna pick myself a bowl and we're gonna enjoy this. And I'll see you next time.